This is K.M. Weiland, and you're listening to the 82nd episode of the Wordplay Podcast. Nothing derails good writing intentions faster than a bout of the stomach flu. I can work my way through head colds, backaches, headaches, and exhaustion, but it's hard to make myself sit at the computer and write when my cookies are constantly threatening to be lost. So between a day in bed all of the flu, and a few days hosting out-of-town company, I haven't been able to do much writing this week. That's the downside. The upside is that a week away from the manuscript offers a new sense of objectivity. It's hard to see anything clearly when it's right in front of your nose day in and day out. But coming back to a project after a week of barely even being able to think about it offers the decided perk of a new perspective. Sometimes a new perspective offers the necessary evil of glaring plot holes and other problems to be corrected. But happily for me, my week away brought back into focus just how stinking much I love this story. It's going to need a lot of polish, even after I finally wrap up the first draft. But it's always a blessing to read over a chapter or two in a work in progress, and then chuckle in the back of your throat, because everything is falling into place the way you want it to. It was a nice way to wrap up an otherwise bumpy week. Make your minor characters count. The latest post in the video series on my blog puts the focus on the unsung heroes of fiction, the minor characters, and how you can make them pop off your pages. You can watch the video on my blog at wordplay-kmweiland, that's weiland.blogspot.com. New videos are posted every Wednesday. Meanwhile, enjoy this week's podcast, 10 Steps for Working Past the This Stinks Blues. You've spent months laboring over your manuscript. Long nights, early mornings, blood, sweat, tears, the whole ball of wax. This story is your darling. The words are more than just words. They're the outbreathings of your soul. Sounds like a fairy tale, every writer's dream come true, until one morning when you boot up your computer, glance through the manuscript file, and realize this stinks. Now what do you do? Step number 1. Don't panic. Realize that every author goes through this on every story, so you're in good company. Take a deep breath, look around, and maybe wave at Hemingway, Austen, and Shakespeare. Step number 2. Cry on a sympathetic shoulder. Give your number one fan a call, pour out your woes, and let yourself believe every word when they tell you you're the best writer in the world, and it's simply not possible that you could have written anything that stinky. Step number 3. Give it some space. It's easy to lose perspective on a story that has been with you every single day for months or even years. Sometimes that loss of perspective means you think a story is better than it is. Sometimes you think it's much worse. Either way, letting a story breathe allows you to come back to it with more perceptive eyesight. Step number 4. Get some objective feedback. Send the manuscript to your most trusted beta reader, who, one hopes, is not the same person you went to in tip number 2. Bite your fingernails for a few days until you can get his honest opinion. Step number 5. Get a grip. No story is perfect. No author is perfect. This is a sad fact that every writer has to face sooner or later. Face it, accept it, deal with it. Then hitch up your knickers and start prepping that grindstone to receive the tip of your nose. Step number 6. Identify the weaknesses. What can you strengthen? Where are the plot holes? Which characters are behaving unrealistically? Once you have a battle plan, you can accurately attack the weak spots. Step number 7. Remind yourself why you love this story. You might be tempted to chuck the whole darn story in the dump, but take a moment to remind yourself why you started writing it in the first place. See if you can recapture that original spark of inspiration. Step number 8. Revisit the good parts. Find the bits that sparkle, and allow yourself to swell with pride just a little bit, if only to remind yourself that you can do this. Step number 9. Take a break. Give yourself a little time off to recover from the blues. Eat at your favorite restaurant, watch a good movie, take a long walk, go skydiving, whatever stokes your motor and leaves your soul at peace. Step number 10. Get back to work. And now it's time to get cracking. Your story isn't going to get any less stinky the longer you let it sit. The only way to write better is to write more. So roll up your sleeves and dive back into the fray, with the assurance that you will make this the best story you've ever written. Thank you for listening to the Wordplay Podcast. To read a transcript of this episode, visit me on the web at wordplay-kmwyland, that's weiland.blogspot.com, and be sure to listen again next week.